Hello, this is my YouTube channel. The reason why I'm doing it this way is because doing it in 1 minute stints is really making the conversation disjointed, and it's getting us separated on it. If you want to watch the rest of my channel, by all means go ahead. I've discussed a lot of these issues in the past, but at the same time, I was just coming into the understanding of all of it, so I was actually quite rage-filled. Let's go ahead and say that. But everyone calls me Ryu, because of Ryu Knight of Flame, the name of my channel. But, alright, when it comes to men's rights, I'll try to keep it as short and sweet as possible. If you want more detail, you can go ahead, you can watch up my other videos, whatever. First and foremost, I believe in, alright, your body, your choice, alright, fine. Well, if it's okay for you to go ahead and decide that a life is not worth existing, then it should at least be up to me to decide that a life is not worth financially supporting. I'm not asking to be able to end a life. I'm not asking for that power. I'm just wanting my own financial autonomy. Doesn't sound too bad in comparison now, does it? How about this? Unless a parent is shown to be causing harm to a child, both parents should have 50-50 custody. Period. No question. No room for debate, no room for fluctuation. Anything outside of that is between the parents. Now, if it comes down to a court order, then the default is 1 week with one parent, 1 week with the other. So both get a taste of both of on school time and off school time. And they both get to have their input. Unless agreed upon by both parents. But at no point should child support be a thing, because that is a really big factor that really helps women to very easily be able to break up their own family. In fact, they're incentivized to do it between alimony, which I think alimony shouldn't be a fucking thing. Once a relationship's done, it needs to be fucking done. Split up the assets, go your separate ways. And don't sit there and say, well, if she's a stay-at-home mom, she sacrificed all those years. No, she didn't. She was raising her fucking child. That was her job. Maybe she should go ahead and get a job in childcare, since she is now an expert. No better training than doing. Another big issue is the whole disparagement between men and women when it comes to sentencing for crimes. For one, it's much more rare for a woman to be found guilty of a crime than men. So why is it that women also get a lesser sentence for the same crime? Yeah, I can see where some equal rights movement needs to fucking talk there. And it sure as fuck ain't feminism that are trying to say that men should still go to prison, but women should be sent to day spas. And I'm being literal there. How about in domestic issues? I know that we somewhat touched on that. But when it comes to domestic assault, a man, even if he calls the cops and he's waiting outside and he's bloody and bruised and she's sitting there holding a weapon in her hand, the cops pull up, what's the first thing to happen? It's not them telling the woman to put the weapon down. They tackle the guy and put him in cuffs. Seen it happen multiple fucking times. And it takes a whole bunch of witnesses to say that he didn't lay a hand on her, because all she has to do is say, he tried to hit me and I defended myself. And whoop, off to the clink. Again, seen it happen multiple fucking times. Hell, one time I was sitting there and I was telling the cops as they were loading him into the car, I saw what happened. He never tried to touch her. I was threatened with arrest for obstruction. I almost went to jail that day because I told them to fucking arrest me. That I wasn't going to idly stand by and watch them take a man to fucking prison when he was the one being attacked. Finally, they fucking listened. But, and yes, it was a white man and it was a black woman. So that definitely didn't help either because he was going to get charged with a hate crime on top of it. It's funny, it's all fine and good for you to be with someone who's of a different race than you. But, sorry about that. A bunch of loud-ass vehicles decided to come through right at that moment. But, yeah, like I was saying, funny how you can be with someone of a different race when it's romantically done, but if anything goes wrong and you happen to be the one that's white, you get charged with an extra crime on top of it. Yeah, because you hate the person so much that you spent years living with them, paying their bills. Okay. And that's just a general issue that I have with our system. That's the whole hate crime thing. Now, if someone yells out a racial slur, yeah, by all means. At that point, all right, then, yeah, it was racially motivated, at least in some way. But if there was nothing like that, like if I go out and I get into a fight with a guy at a bar and he happens to be fucking black and we just don't like each other, has nothing to do with fucking race, at least not on my end. Why am I going to be hit with an extra penalty just because of the color of my skin? Oh, but if a black guy attacks a white guy, oh, no. It's never a hate crime then. And how about this? If a woman goes ahead and falsely accuses a man, and it's proven that it was false, that was for revenge or because she got busted cheating on her boyfriend, and she said that the other guy raped her to try to save her own skin, to try to save her relationship, and that sort of thing. What happens to her? Oh, nothing. Absolutely nothing. But the guy still has to pay for his defense lawyer, which those are not cheap. He has to pay for court fees and, you know, the time he was in jail, all that sort of shit. He gets nailed with a whole bunch of shit, and there's nothing he can do to her. Nothing. One of two things needs to happen there. One, she should have to go to prison for as long as he would have if he had gotten found guilty. Or two, she needs to be locked in a room with him for 2 hours. Whatever happens, happens. And then he gets to walk free. And if the reverse is true, then let it happen. I don't care. I don't care if it's two guys, two women, a man and a woman, either one making the false allegation. Oh, and the one that made the false allegation needs to be tied up. Absolutely defenseless. Because that's what they fucking did to that other person. Quite frankly, I think the first one's a better idea. Don't you? But the main kicker of all of it is, when it comes down to a woman that gets pregnant by a guy pisses her off, she goes in and has a fucking abortion and then sends him a fucking video of it. No. That right there is emotional abuse beyond anything I've ever fucking seen. At that point, you need to be charged as a fucking terrorist. And yes, that has happened. Yes, it happens more often than you think. Women have been given every right under the fucking sun, including the right to abuse men. And the reason why you're seeing so many videos getting so many likes of guys finally standing up, like if a woman comes up and hits him with a shoe or a purse or something like that. Like there was one famous one where a woman came up, hit a guy in the back of the head with a purse. He was this big Russian dude. She came up and hit him in the back of the head with a purse, and he turned around and he slapped her. He didn't punch her, he slapped her, and she went sailing through a window. It was in a train station, and he was inside of an enclosed area. She came in, hit him, and then gave him that "what are you gonna do" motion. Well, he showed her. And that video got so many likes, it wasn't even funny. In fact, it was part of a lot of different compilations all throughout YouTube. And you know what those compilations were? Gender equality meter. Go ahead and look it up. You might be sickened by it, but I want you to come into it, thinking of, this is what guys have had to deal with for so fucking long. And remember, guys are hardwired by nature to be protective of women. Now, if guys are getting to the point to where that's how they're starting to act, they're starting to take the gender equality thing very fucking seriously. But the thing is, equality means equality, not superior rights. So yes, I believe full-fledged in gender equality. I truly, truly do. But it has to go both ways. If it's all right for a woman to hit a man, then it's all right for a man to hit a woman. And don't sit there and bring up the physical strength differences. Oh, no. Because here's the thing. If a little scrawny guy comes walking up to a big guy and punches him, and that big strong guy picks him up and throws him across the room, everyone laughs at it. There was a big disparity between strength there. There was a big disparity between size. But nothing but laughter. So don't even with me. If you're going to throw a punch, which is considered part of toxic masculinity, so if you're going to be toxically masculine in that moment, then guess what? You get to suffer the punishment for being toxically masculine. You don't want to go ahead and get involved with that? Don't pull out masculinity. You want to be treated like a woman? Show femininity. Not that hard. But then if people want to go through and do that again, guess what? That means if a man is acting feminine, that means he gets all the same sympathy that a woman gets. All the same special little privileges. That would be equality. Because then you get to pick and choose. Because it's based off of your actions. Not off of what you were born as. You want to go ahead and do that route? We can go ahead and do that route. I'm fine with that. But something's got to fucking give. But at this point, the fact that a woman can come up yelling and screaming in a man's fucking face, pushing and shoving him, hitting him, poking him, quite literally poking him with her finger in the chest, slapping him, and he's not allowed to do anything or else he's going to fucking prison. Nah, fuck that noise. Because if a guy was to go up and do that to another guy, he'd be dropped in half a second. Equality is equality. There should never be a qualifier for equality. Ever. So yeah, I believe in full-fledged equal rights. And I will never stop preaching equal rights. Now, if people want to go ahead and have a fucking problem with that, then whatever. You can go ahead and have a problem with it. Remember, I'm a conservative. At least according to the left. In all honesty, every political test that I've done has put me smack dab in the center. But the fact of the matter is, They say I'm a conservative. Well, guess what? That means I'm all about equal rights. I'm not about special privileges. I hate special privileges. I'm fucking deathly allergic to it. So let's go ahead and just take stock in what was just said. I believe that every right that women get, men should have. Or at least an equivalent of it. So guess what? That means no more women-only owned businesses. You have to have it. You have to have a certain amount of men in there, or else you get to pay a fucking fine. You're no longer allowed to say, "Oh, this gender only," unless you want to go ahead and keep that. Where women continue to get all this extra funding and all that to get into the STEM field. But then that means you need to start fighting to get guys into the arts. That means you need to start funding them, start giving them special fucking things to do that. Like nursing, for example. Nursing is technically an art because it's different from patient to fucking patient. So how about this? Go ahead and have it where a guy gets a full ride if he wants to be a nurse. He doesn't have to have good grades. He doesn't have to have anything special about him. If he says he wants to be a nurse, he gets a full ride. And he gets to go through and not pay a single fucking dime. How about that? And only guys can get it. And how about this? In music classes that specialize in R&B and all that, yep, you're guessing it. I'm going race on this. How about this? White guys only get a special thing, paying for them to go through and take that fucking class, completely fucking paid for. Because white guys are seriously underrepresented in there. Oh, wait. Oh, that's a little bit of a problem, isn't it? That sounds kind of sexist and racist, doesn't it? Well, guess what? You've got that shit all over the fucking place. When I was going through looking for funding for schooling, it was blacks only, or women only, single mothers only, no single fathers, no fucking whites only, no nothing. I was expected to pay my way wholesale. Unless I had graduated from high school with straight A's plus AP classes. That was the only way I was getting even $1,000 fucking dollars. $1,000 for schooling. And I was going to have to apply for that every fucking semester and just pray that I was one of the 5 people that got it. So don't tell me that in academia, there isn't something against fucking guys. Don't even. Because there were just plenty that were female only, female only, female only, for every field I wanted to fucking go into. The ones that you said that they weren't interested in. So if they're not interested in it, why are you throwing money hand over fist? Why? What, so they can go there and get a degree for a job that they're going to fucking hate and quit, and then going and, getting a job elsewhere that's lesser? When a guy would have been perfectly fucking happy in that job? Do you see where my anger comes from? At that point, the responsibility for that is on the people that are trying to force others into this. If someone's not interested, then they're not interested. Fund them in where they're interested in going into. If a woman wants to go into the social field, let her go into the social field. She's probably interested in that because she has an aptitude for it. If a guy wants to go into STEM, don't hold him back from going to STEM. Don't say, oh, well, you have to pay an exorbitant amount of money to go into this. Because guys right now are looking at school as a major fucking risk, because it's not only a risk financially, because you're not guaranteed shit when you get out of school, but then on top of that, they're a prime fucking target for if a girl's about to fucking flunk out. All she has to do is make a false allegation against him. He's automatically considered to be guilty, and she gets a free pass for the fucking year. She gets automatic A's. Fuck that. Stop incentivizing bad behavior. I'm so done. Why in the hell would anyone agree to something like that? And then when they get out, then you've got all the other social issues that I just brought up that they have to face every fucking day. And the false rape allegations don't stop there. And then on top of that, oh my God, then you've got situations where guy goes into a fucking club, you know? It's a club that serves alcohol, so everyone in there is supposed to be 21 and up. It's up to the bouncer to fucking make sure that everyone does that. But everyone knows that there's a lot of sleazebag fucking bouncers out there, and a lot of girls with mommy and daddy money, and they go ahead, they slip him a few extra dollars or maybe something else, and they get let into the fucking club. They go ahead, they're chatting up a guy's chatting her up. She is actively lying to him, shows him a false ID, everything, and then he gets fucking labeled for the rest of his life. I'm sorry, at that point, all a guy should have to do is ask to see the ID. And if it sits there and says that, then the rest of it is on her. And don't sit there and say, well, women get nailed for it all the time too. Yeah, okay, they get nailed for it, but what's the punishment? Oh, you mean like that one teacher, I forget what state it was in. There was one teacher that got caught sexually molesting one of her students. How did she get caught? Oh, because she got fucking pregnant. She was found guilty, got to keep her teaching job, and then was able to only go to jail every 2 weeks for weekends only. All the rest of it was considered commuted time, so she could take care of the baby. Now, this is a woman that had molested a child. She got full fucking custody. The family was denied any custody, the family of the boy, and the family has to pay child support to her until the boy is of age, and then he has to pay her child support. Now, when that was brought up, all of a sudden everyone wanted to bury it. Everyone wanted to bury it and say, oh, you know, whatever. You know, like, and they were saying, oh, the boy probably had the time of his life, so whatever, you know, he's got to pay for it. But then a guy just gets a male teacher just gets accused of it. There's no evidence for it. There's not a baby, definitely not. No evidence for it. In fact, there's evidence to the contrary, and yet the guy still gets his house fucking burned down. His dog shot. His wife and kids harassed. And is drove into fucking suicide. No. Societally, legally, academically, in every regard, women have the advantage except when it comes to physicality. So, of course, guys are going to start resorting to that. What was that saying about cornering an animal? Well, guess what? Women have been saying that men are nothing but brainless animals for a long fucking time. Well, you cornered the brainless beast, didn't you? And now it's lashing out. And now you're saying, oh, look at that. It's all like, no shit, Sherlock. So I hope you got at least some understanding of where us MGTOWs are coming from. There's a reason why we don't deal with women anymore. Not unless we absolutely have to, and we deal with them as little as we can. The only women in my life that doesn't hold true for is my mother and my daughter. Other than that, I don't go out for drinks with women. I don't go out on dates. I'm not stuck alone with a woman if I can ever get away with not being stuck alone with a woman. Like if I'm ever offered a job, but I have to be alone with a woman in a room or a building, I'll deny it. I will decline that job. I would rather go to prison. Because there's already a pretty good chance that I'll end up in prison anyway, off of baseless bullshit. And I'm really not interested in having to prove my innocence anymore. Especially when the legal system is saying innocent until proven guilty. Well, not as a fucking man. Not when a woman's involved. We're always viewed as guilty. So yeah, we get a little bit upset. Yeah, we've become isolationists. It's out of self-preservation. And even then, everyone comes after us. And they try to fucking lump us in with incels. The guys that are still fucking thirsty as shit. A MGTOW and an incel are the exact opposite of each other. A MGTOW has given up on women. An incel has given up on getting a woman the honest way. That's the difference. Takes zero effort to be an incel. All you have to do is be a self-absorbed piece of shit. People smell that from a mile and a half away. To be a MGTOW, you need to deny a part of your humanity. You have to deny a lot of fucking desires. Now, you know men. We don't tend to put effort into something unless we see the value in it.